Howdy, howdy. Welcome into the pre-show for the free show. I'm Greg Tepper. Ashley Pickle is indisposed at the moment, but she will be back. Don't worry. She is. I can see her. She's just talking to somebody. So it's the pre-show before the free show. I'm Greg. That's Ashley. We're getting you ready for week 3 of the Texas high school football season. But here on the pre-show, I understand that like the world is bad in a lot of ways. A lot of bad things happening, and especially, today being the 24th anniversary of September 11th attacks, it can feel easy to, and just things going on in the world, in the news, it's easy to feel bummed. I get that. It can be easy to feel bummed. So what I want to do is I want to share with you a story that has buoyed me throughout the week that I've been floating on for quite a while. So I want to share that with you. So on Saturday, and my wife and I went to a charity gala on Saturday night. We went up to Van Alstyne for a charity gala benefiting an organization called Jack's 1,000 Days. Jack's 1,000 Days is a charity run by my friends Stephen and Bonnie Donaldson. That's them with their 3 kiddos. I've gotten to know them through the organization I volunteer with, Camp Ryla. They are just the best people in the entire world. They started the foundation in honor of their son Jack, who's the young man on the left. Jack was born with a rare childhood disease called Batten's disease. It's extremely rare. Only 3 out of every 100,000 births in America are affected by it. It's a group of genetic conditions. The long story short, seizures, vision loss, problems thinking and movement. It does lead to early death in children, and it did for Jack. Jack died after he lived for about 1,000 days. I think it was 1,047 days. Then he passed away, and so they named just before his 3rd birthday, they named the charity Jack's 1,000 Days. And what Jack's 1,000 Days does is that they raise money to help families that are dealing with childhood illnesses. And there are a lot of great organizations that do stuff like that. One of the things I love about Jack's 1,000 Days is that they have an intentionally broad scope of helping people. They aren't just like, oh, we'll help pay your medical bills, or oh, we will help you do this. They basically go to these families and say, what do you need? What can we do to help make your life a little bit easier? For example, they shared the story of a young family, a family who's actually, their daughter is dealing with Batten's disease right now as well. And the daughter had been sleeping in the parents' bed because they want to keep her safe. And so Jack's 1,000 Days bought them a safety bed that allows her to be safe while she's sleeping, because you when you tuck in your kids at night, you just want them to be safe. That's a real important thing. And so that is just such a great thing that they did for the organization. Okay, so that's Jack's 1,000 Days. So we go to the charity event. And one of the things I wanted to do this year was I wanted to help out in as many ways as I can. Now, I don't have anything of value. I think that's just broadly true. But I do know people. And so this is when an old friend of the program drops by, our friend Matt Wilson.
Let's go.
Matt Wilson from the Arlington Sports Commission, who helped make our coaching school shows possible. And I text Matt because you and I have both been on the receiving end of his generosity, because he'll be like, hey, I got tickets to the Rangers game or the Cowboys game or the rodeo or a concert. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got that access stuff. So I sent Matt a text and said, hey, if you got anything that we could auction off, that would be great. And immediately wrote back. He goes, got it. 4 tickets in a suite, Rangers game, Tuesday night, Brewers, food, drink, parking pass, everything they need.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Of course he did that.
So I text Bonnie. I'm like, Bonnie, great news. She's over the moon. We get to the gala. They have a live auction. Have you been to a live auction lately?
It's been about a year, but
Can
yeah.
I tell you something? I think I want to be an auctioneer.
Oh, dude, I've said that. With how fast I talk, yeah.
Seems like it rocks. So they auction things off. They forgot to auction off the suite.
Oh, no.
Right. Bonnie's got a million things going on. She's running this organization. She's running this big event. They're raising thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. Afterwards, I just go up to her and I go, hey, Bonnie, not a huge deal. I just want to let you know you forgot to auction off the suite. She goes, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. But she, being very smart, thinks on her feet. She turns to this woman to the right, and she goes, "Hey, Katie, what are you guys doing Tuesday night?" And so now is when I get to introduce you to the Tedesco family. The Tedesco family is they are a family of 4. That's Katie and Joey Tedesco, the mom and dad, and then that is their 4-year-old daughter Jax, and that is their 2-year-old daughter Blake. Blake was born with Mowat-Wilson syndrome. Mowat-Wilson syndrome is a very rare genetic condition, and long story short, they just don't get to go out much.
Yeah.
Katie spends all her time at home, 24/7, with Blake, to helping her with her condition, and so basically, Bonnie said, "Hey, those tickets available?" I go, "They are 100% available."
Yeah.
Okay. And so we told the Tedescos that, Joey and Katie, and they were just over the moon because Jax has never been to a baseball game. Mm-hmm. Blake's never been to a baseball game. The parents had never been to the new ballpark, and now they get to go sit in a suite.
That's awesome.
So this is fantastic. You can follow them on Instagram at our.rare.journey. They've got a GoFundMe page set up there. So they get to go to the baseball game. But it gets even better because someone overhears this conversation and says, "Yeah, actually, I'll buy those tickets for $1,200 and donate those to the Tedescos."
Let's go.
So my wife and I were like buzzing on the way home. We were like, this literally couldn't have worked out better if they had auctioned them off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this could have worked out better. And so the Tedescos had a fantastic time. I was creeping on Joey's Instagram because he was posting photos of like Jax had like the big helmet full of ice cream, stuff like that. And they just had apparently the best time. And it's an opportunity they just don't get to go out very often. And especially they don't get to go take Blake places. But because it was in a suite, it was a much more contained environment, they were able to do that. And so I have been buzzing on that all week. And in a time when we could all use a good story, that is a story that has been floating here. So it's jack1000days.org. They're doing fantastic work there in honor of the late Jack Donaldson, who is, we certainly miss, but Bonnie and Steven and that entire family, the Donaldson family, making good in the world. So there you go. I wanted to share a good story that'll hopefully buoy you into the weekend. Hit the theme, Expo. Yes, y'all. From the new Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a show with a desk. That's why I do this, because there's a desk. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all of those places, or you're listening.
Whoa, chill.
Trying to be an auctioneer.
Slow it down.
Or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks, Miss 305. She's got all sorts of buttons and levers and gears, and
I don't think I have a lever in here.
we need a lever. Kronk.
Hey!
She's our Kronk.
Well, I don't know if I want to be Kronk. He's kind of dumb.
I still don't know what that means, but like, I know one line from that movie.
You can be Yzma though.
Shh.
Oh yeah.
No, I reject that. I think.
Honestly, I'm probably more Yzma and you're probably more Kronk.
Today,
I wish you understood this.
I don't though, and I won't.
Oh, someone give me a laugh.
Today is Thursday, September 11th, 2025. It is a mere 77 days to Thanksgiving. That's 11 weeks, guys.
Let's go.
11 weeks to Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Ludacris.
Real fast. Do you know who's a huge Thanksgiving person in our office that we didn't know about?
I'm going to say Brent.
Sam Moore.
Oh, Sam.
Like,
Moore.
He literally was like, you can keep all of my Christmas gifts. I don't care, but do not take Thanksgiving food away from me. So we need to have him on for the Thanksgiving Spectacular.
I knew I liked that kid. It's episode 1880. On today's show, folks, big show as we get you ready for week 3 of the Texas high school football season. We will start with the top 10 games of the week, including some must-see affairs that you can watch live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, including a game that you can watch live tonight, which segues us into our guest. We'll talk with the head coach of the Fort Bend Ridge Point Panthers. Coach Rick LaFavers will join us. We'll talk a little bit about his 2-0 Panthers. Big game tonight that you can watch for free on YouTube, courtesy of Dave Campbell's Texan Live. That's right. Bridgeland and Fort Bend Ridge Point. It's the Gavin Moritz game of the week. It's also the Rising game of the week. So
what did he call it earlier? The Mo-Riz?
The Mo-Riz game of the week.
Marathon.
Mo-Riz Marathon. So we'll have Coach Rick LaFavers on, ask him what it means to have Gavin Moritz calling his game. Then we're going to have our weekly team builder, where we are going to do our fantasy draft. Myself, Ashley Pickle, and Carter Yates.
Boo.
Of which players we are watching this week. Then we'll be joined by the Hall of Famer Craig Way, who joins us every Thursday.
Thursdays.
To talk all things Texas high school football, and perhaps Texas versus UTEP. Scotty Walden's coming to town. He's bringing hell with him. And also the UTEP Miners. We'll talk about that in high school football with Craig Way. And then it's Mailbag. We're going to answer your questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, auctioneering.
We don't have anything to actually say about it. Just because you want to be it doesn't mean that you have experience to tell the people that.
I went so far. This is true. I went so far. We went to the gala on Saturday night. Sunday morning, I was Googling, how do you become an auctioneer? There are schools.
I would think so.
You can be trained and licensed as an auctioneer. I feel like that might be fun.
So I'm going to become an ordained minister, much like yourself, because I have to marry people next year.
Marry him, bury him.
No.
That's what you can do.
Just, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that would be a bummer.
Anyway, but once I become an ordained minister, then maybe we can start auctioneering school. That would be a fun thing to,
that'd be fun. Yeah, what if you
go through?
It'd be fun. Anyway, all right, big show on deck. Do we have first four through the door?
Oh, we sure do.
Oh!
I forgot. It was Joey Hill, Big Jiggly Water Balloons, yes. Tony Blaylock, and Matt Stepp is also in the comments.
And also Matt Stepp.
No, man, isn't that how things work around here?
Friends, we do appreciate he's just lurking.
And also Matt Stepp.
Welcome in, friends. We do appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us. All righty, folks. Week 3 of the Texas high school football season kicks off hours from now. Mere minutes, if you think about it. Seconds from now. Including huge games on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. There are like 20 of them. It's a big Thursday slate on Texan Live.
I believe so.
Yeah, it's big Thursday slate, so make sure you go check that out. But of these 700-ish games across the state of Texas, I have narrowed it down to the top 10 Texas high school football games of the week, starting with number 10. Longview and South Oak Cliff. That's how good a week it is.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Longview and South Oak Cliff starts at number 10. And if you remember, it was last year that South Oak Cliff went out to Lobo Stadium and knocked off Longview. Now, Longview returns. Now, we've talked a lot about how Longview is without their head coach, John King, who is going through a medical procedure. We wish him all the best. It will be Oscar Wilson on the sideline taking over for that program. Now, Longview beat Marshall last week. I wouldn't say they beat them resoundingly or they looked fantastic doing it, but they got the win. They stacked in the left-hand column. Mason Washington, their running back, I thought stepped up. Johnny Hamilton, their quarterback, I think needs to have a big game. For South Oak Cliff, this is the next and the final step in their non-district gauntlet. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is probably the last time we're talking about a South Oak Cliff game until like the second or third round of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So buy South Oak Cliff for 3 months. All that is to say, if they can pull off this win and they go into district play with wins over North Shore and Longview and a 1-score loss at Duncanville, I think I know who will be number 1. Mm-hmm. Want to see what LaVon Morton does. He will be the tip of the spear there. Quarterback Jaden Williams has stepped up in a big way. Fascinating game there at Kincaid Stadium tomorrow night. Number 9, Winsboro and Honeygrove. Fabulous small school matchup here. They're in Honeygrove, America.
I think Mallory's going to go out to that one.
This is a huge, huge game. I think this is true strength on strength. You have the Winsboro offense, which has been electrifying, averaging more than 63 points per game. With Camden Capehart, their star wide receiver.
He's on my team builder. Not this week, but
who has been unbelievable. Going up against a Honeygrove defense, excuse me, got a frog in my throat, that has looked spectacular to start the year, and they're starting to get Rylan Morris cooking offensively. This is a really intriguing matchup. It is 2A versus 3A, which I think makes this all the more interesting. Can Honeygrove punch up and get a real win? Strength on strength matchup there. That Winsboro offense against the Honeygrove defense is box office stuff. And by the way, here's a tease. Friday night, 10:30 p.m., Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We'll have the winning coach live on our air.
Let's go.
How's that for a tease? Number 8, Poth and Shiner. Let's go south.
Yes.
Let's go south. And let's hit some people. You want to talk about a physical ball game. I'm fascinated by Shiner. They've got 2 really nice wins over 3A competition in Hallettsville and Rice Consolidated. They have looked the part. They are, of course, they played for a state championship a year ago. Guys like Tristan Vesely have come back. I think that they Jarvis Williams, their sophomore quarterback, they don't ask him to do a ton, but I think he's been really, really rock solid. They've got a Clayton Fritz. Whenever they have that guy, they're going to be significantly improved. They are punching way up here, okay? Because remember, this is a 2A Division II Shiner team that played for the 2A Division II, playing a 3A team, a 3A Division II in Poth, and a good one. 2-0. They beat Jordanton in week 1. They mollywopped their rival Fall City last week. I want to see what this Poth defense does against Shiner. Can they slow them down? And more importantly, on the other side, can the Shiner defense, which has been so good so far to start the year, can they put a cap on Major Luna, who has been so good for Poth to start the year, their quarterback? Fabulous ball game down south, this game in Shiner, America. Number 7, Davenport and Piper in a terrific San Antonio area clash. These are, I think it's important to remember, these are 2 of the younger programs in San Antonio. The greater San Antonio area, I should say. Davenport, still very young, but they are playing spectacular football right now. 2-0. Offense has been on another planet. Barrett Fallon, their running back, 10 touchdowns through 2 weeks. They got a sophomore quarterback in Tristan Torres, who I think has really stepped up. By the way, Barrett Fallon, 11 touchdowns. He's also got a receiving touchdown. Their offense is humming. Piper's hard to figure out, and in fact, I believe Carter Yates wrote about them in his piece about Jekyll and Hyde teams that's on TexasFootball.com right now. They've got a great win over Bernie in the opener, and then they go and they lose to San Antonio Johnson. This week we will get a better feel for where Piper is, and I want to see especially their defense. Can the offense find some consistency? Especially, they've kind of bounced between 2 different quarterbacks. With Tyler Lacombe and Isaiah Gayton, where they go with that. I'm interested to see what this offense looks like going up against what has been a very good Davenport defense. Number 6, Bridgeland and Fort Bend Ridgepoint. We're going to talk with the head coach of the Ridgepoint Panthers, Rick LaFavers, coming up here in a minute. Just a game you can watch live, free on YouTube, on our YouTube page tonight. It's our Rising Game of the Week. Greg Powers, Carter Yates, Gavin Moritz on the call. This might be the best overall game in Houston this week, with the exception of another one, but that's
yes.
Houston versus Houston, I should say.
Correct.
Perhaps that. Bridgeland, I think last week was really impressive over Katy Tompkins. We haven't talked enough about that. Tyler Beagle, their quarterback, was great. Cash Schwab had 3 rushing touchdowns. Cash Schwab. They looked really, really good. Had a pick 6 defensively. They looked complete. Ridgepoint played with their food a little bit against Fulshire, but then ended up pulling away for a 34-10 win. Aiden Akins, their running back, was really a key in there. DJ Darling, their quarterback's great. This team is loaded. I think there's an argument to be made that this is the single most prospect-laden team in Texas high school football.
Ridgepoint's insane.
They're loaded. Can they put it all together? If they go out there and they beat up on Bridgeland, then I think it's really time to start paying attention to them as a serious state championship contender. And on the other side, if you're Bridgeland and you go and you get a Thursday night win against Ridgepoint, I think that you got the winner of this game. I'm going to look at really differently. I'll just say that. A lot of stakes in that way. Number 5, back down south to the coast, Edna versus Refugio. So Edna's in a weird spot. Edna has a win in week 1 over a team I can't find right now in Vanderbilt Industrial. Dominated them. No-nos. 46-2. Crushed them. They follow that up by kind of getting steamrolled by Bay City. But Bay City's a 4A, so I don't want to go too crazy about them. I think overall, I don't know. It's hard to get a read on where Edna is. Well, here's Refugio, a team we have ranked number 1 in 2A Division 1. And with all due respect to Cotulla and Corpus Christi London, this is their first big test of the year. We will find out a ton about them. And so far, so good. Defenses look spectacular. The running game has really gotten going. Xander Willis, their running back, Xander Wills, has been terrific. Ray Lewis. This team is loaded. They're the number 1 team in 2A Division 1 for a reason. Now, it gets turned up because they're punching up to a 3A team and a good 3A team. We'll find out a lot about both these teams and their trajectory after tomorrow night's game. Number 4, Strawn and Gordon, rivalry renewed. One of the great rivalries in six-man football is renewed. And by the way, it is a top 10 clash. Now, these two teams are no longer in the same district because I believe Strawn has dropped down to Division 2 and Gordon is Division 1, so they're kind of growing apart. We've talked at length about Gordon. They're about to head into their 2 11-man games, so that's fascinating. But they will get a big test this week against a Strawn team that's 2-0, and we thought they were going to be pretty good. This is a Strawn team that brought back every letterman from last year's team. This was a playoff team a year ago, and they bring back everyone. Michael Barcenas, Casey Nunez. Dwayne Lee's team is loaded with experience. It's also a rivalry game. Game's in Strawn. You know they would love to end that long winning streak. Massive game there. A lot to learn about both these teams in six-man football. Strawn and Gordon. Number 3, Gunner and Salina. So this is a matchup of defending state champs, and I probably just don't need to sell you on it any farther than there. You have the 3-time defending 3A Division 2 state champs in Gunner, who have looked every bit the part of the team to beat in 3A Division 2. They win in week 1 on the road at a good Houston Kincaid team, a private school team. And then they played Prosper Richland last week, and the game, I think, got at or near halftime, and they were up 21-0 at the end of the first. It's hard to pull anything from it. But Knox Gage, their new quarterback, has been great. They are punching way, way, way up in this one to 4A Division 1. And the number 1 team in 4A Division 1, the Salina Bobcats, who have looked pretty good. Last week against La Vega, I had my doubts, but boy, they showed out in a huge way. And especially what they were able to do in the trenches and defensively. We talk a lot about Bo Bentley, and he's awesome. I think Salina's fate is going to be determined how well they perform in the trenches. Salina's a big favorite in this one because they are just the bigger team. But not often you get to see defending state champs toe up to one another. Number 2, Port Nature's Groves and LaPorte. Tasty affair. The biggest game in Bulldog Stadium history. I think it's the second game in Bulldog Stadium history. At least a new one. And it'll be a madhouse. I think the atmosphere here might be the best in Texas high school football this weekend. It's going to be crowded. Connor Bailey for Port Nature's Groves has made that step. He has made that leap as the next big thing. Been razor sharp. But more importantly for them, more importantly for Port Nature's Groves, the defense, which we had questions about because they graduated really heavy. The defense looks like a Jeff Joseph defense. And I mean that as the high compliment that it is. Going up against LaPorte, who the running game has been ridiculous. Sean Simon, Ashton Ruffin, The running game has been ridiculous. And the defense has punched up to 2 6A programs and made plays when it matters most. This is a whopper game. 5AD1 LaPorte, 5AD2 Port Neches Groves in front of an asylum of people at Bulldog Stadium. Huge, huge game, LaPorte and Port Neches Groves. It's the number 2 game of the week. Number 1, Westlake and Atascocita live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. That's right. Tomorrow night, live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live at Turner Stadium. Atascocita's been a runaway freight train, and specifically Carday Mack has been a runaway freight train. 880 yards and 12 total touchdowns in 2 weeks. And they have been spectacular. What they did last week to Katy, I think, should not be understated. Going up against an Atascocita team, a Westlake team, that week 1 they lose to Prosper in a neutral site affair. Then they go down to San Benito and they overmatch San Benito. Now they got to get back on the road. After driving to the Valley, they get back on the road and drive 180 miles to Houston. I think there's a huge test for the Westlake defense, which is, of course, coached by Tony Salazar, who's one of the best defensive minds in Texas. I think there's a huge test for the Atascocita defense going up against Reese Wise, who is probably the single best offensive weapon they face this year. This is a huge game. We'll learn a ton. There's a chance that these two teams are both in 6A Division 1. Ton to learn in this one, in this cross-regional matchup, live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. It's Westlake and Atascocita. It's my number 1 game of the week. So it is, your top 10 Texas high school ball games of the week. We are Texas Football Today. We are here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. If you want to watch that Atascocita Westlake game tonight on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, TexasFootball.com/subscribe. That's how you do it. Go to Dave Campbell's TexasFootball.com. Makes a great gift as well. Get your loved one the gift of Dave Campbell's Texan Live. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Coming up here in just a moment, we're going to talk with the head coach of the Fort Bend Ridgepoint Panthers. Coach Rick LaFavers will join us. But first, a word from these valued partners.
Hello, Candace.
Not you again.
Me again. Remember our last oil change? Your boyfriend said he knew a guy who knew a guy. None of those guys knew what they were doing, including you, Todd.
Silence your oil change anxiety at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, where you can watch our experts change your oil right from your car.
Thanks for coming in.
And finish in about 15 minutes. Valvoline. Service you can see, experts you can trust.
Pour some sunshine with new First Light Community Coffee's first ever light roast. This blend has notes of honey and brown sugar that will brighten any part of your day. Try First Light now at communitycoffee.com.
Friday night football is here, and Hometown is trusted by thousands of schools across the nation to make game days effortless. Sell tickets online, easily scan them at the gate, track sales in real time, and keep your community connected with a free athletic website. Make every game a Hometown game. Visit hometown.com to learn more.
Every legend starts with a vision. For Dave Campbell, that vision was clear. Tell the story of Texas football like never before. In 1960, he built something no one had before, a magazine that became the Bible of Texas football. Coaches, players, and fans didn't just read it, they lived by it. His words shaped the game. His vision built a legacy. And his name? It will always be written in the story of Texas football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, where legends begin.
Thanks. Let's try that. Back here on Texas Football Today. Pickle, let's go to the hotline. Let's go down Fort Bend County, talk with the head coach of the state-ranked and undefeated Fort Bend Ridgepoint Panthers. We're joined by our friend Rick LaFavers. Coach, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
We're doing.
Appreciate you guys having us on.
We appreciate you taking some time. Last time we talked, we knew that this Ridgepoint team had a chance to be special. We knew that this had a chance to be good. Through the first 2 weeks of the year, 2 wins, what do you think you've learned about this team now that we've kind of put toe to leather?
I don't know if we did it just if we learned as much as we confirmed, but just we have a lot of team speed. I think that the good thing is we've fought through some adversity where we haven't necessarily, played sharp and good, clean football like we need to, whether it be self-inflicted penalties and such, and kind of gave Fulcher some life at a time, and we fought through that and were able to respond, and so that's always good to see, because as you go through the season and even a game like tonight, there's going to be those moments, and you want to see how your team responds. So it's good to see that. I guess the first 2 games is just not flinching and being able to push through.
You guys have a ton of talent, obviously, on this team, and a lot of it, obviously, some of the seniors you've got. But one of the things that stands out to me is the youth movement that you guys have and the number of young players that you have playing key roles and contributing. What have you seen so far from the youngsters that has you encouraged?
Just one, their football knowledge. I think sometimes one of the hurdles to get over for the young people is just kind of that football savvy. A lot of them will have natural athleticism and such, but just understand the nuances of the game. And this group, the younger players do have that, and that's a huge advantage for us as a team, and as makes it easier on the coaches. But they blended well. It's got great team chemistry. Old guys, are pulling for the young guys, and vice versa. And it's just a good mix right now.
Talking with Rick LaFavers on the Balaji hotline here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. Coach, this is another thing that I think is interesting. You go back that week 1, whatever, Clear Springs, complete. It looked fantastic. You go and you follow that up against Fulcher, a tricky Fulcher team, and you mentioned it. You guys didn't play as sharp as you wanted to. What has this week in practice been like? Maybe compared to the week leading into the game. What has been the change coming off of the week that ended in a win, but maybe not as dominant as you were hoping?
Just emphasis on, again, we did not play the way we should have. We had 8 penalties against Fulcher and 2 costly turnovers that really kind of allowed Fulcher to put points on the board eventually. And so getting off the field on 3rd down, just staying on the field offensively and converting first downs, those are points of emphasis. Those are the things that if we want to go the long way, then we're going to have to play good, clean football and minimize the self-inflicted wounds with penalties and turnovers, things like that, and be efficient on 3rd down.
And then, of course, it continues tonight on a game against a good Bridgeland team that's brimming with confidence themselves. A Thursday night affair we're going to have live streaming on the Dave Campbell's YouTube page. I don't want to ask you to give away your game plan here in front of everybody, but when you take a look at this Bridgeland team, what do you see?
Well, first, a well-coached team in all phases. They're just solid. Defensively, they're always in the right spot. Great angles to the ball, and just not a lot of holes. They're not a big pressure team, but they do a good job in their pass drops and do a good job in the run fits. Offensively, everything starts and ends with Cash, their running back. Arguably between him and the kid at Straight Jesuit, 2 of the best in the city, if not the state, and just tremendous talent. He's only a junior. We got a chance to see him last year, and he's the guy. And they do a good job with the quarterback and with some RPO action and stuff. And their O-line is, not quite the big guys like they had last year with the 2 tackles, but smaller for them. I think they're still 6'3", 280. So it's not like they dropped off too much. But just, again, a solid team, well coached, and they're playing with a lot of confidence right now. And it's going to be a big game.
Finally, Rick LaFavers joining us here on the Ballology Hotline on Texas Football Today. I got to take the opportunity to ask you about District 21-6A because I know district play is right around the corner. This is your last non-district affair. I know you're keeping an eye on the rest of the teams, obviously in Fort Bend IC and specifically in 21-6A. What is your impression so far of what we've seen from your district?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think we've in the non-district games, Hightower's 2-0, Travis is 2-0. I think Elkins is 1-1. Travis upsetting Jordan, I think put everybody on notice that there's someone that is to be taken serious in the conversation. And then obviously Hightower is always tough. Bush has a new head coach, Coach McNeil, and he's got them rolling. And, so I think this year through the district is going to be from top to bottom as good as what we've had in the last, prior to the last few years.
He's Rick LaFavers. He's the head coach of the 2-0 Fort Bend Ridgepoint Panthers, and you can watch his Panthers tonight on the Dave Campbell's YouTube page when they take on Bridgeland in a big-time Thursday night affair, our rising game of the week. Coach, we so appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the great start, and go get him tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. There he goes, Rick LaFavers, head coach. Fort Bend Ridgepoint Panthers join us here on Texas Football Today on the Ballology Hotline. It is a huge game tonight, Bridgeland and Ridgepoint. And, he mentioned it, that they were incomplete against Fulshire, made some mistakes. They will not be able to make those mistakes against Bridgeland and come out with a win. They will need to play cleaner. This is a good Bridgeland team. He mentioned Cash Schwab, their running back, to bottle him up. Fabulous game. You can watch it free on our YouTube page, our Dave Campbell's Texas Football YouTube page. Make sure you go check that out. It'll be Gavin Moritz, Carter Yates, and Greg Powers on the call. We are Texas Football Today. We are here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. So now comes a really weird transition.
From you to you.
So
pull back the curtain.
We had to record the team builder segment because the Rising crew, as we mentioned, aforementioned, they're on their way to Houston now because it's a long trip, right? So they're on their way. So a little bit earlier, we had Carter Yates in studio, and we had our weekly team builder segment where we pick fantasy draft our players to watch in Texas high school football this week. And here with more is me. Welcome back, Texas Football Today. Getting ready for week 3 of the Texas high school football season. I'm here. Ashley Pickles here.
Hi, friends.
And great news, guys. Back by popular demand. Overwhelming popular demand.
Boo.
For this week's team builder segment, Carter Yates.
I came out of the gates firing in week 1, and just going back through the tape, I think I left a lot out there in week 2.
A little sophomore slump.
So I just dropped a story on TexasFootball.com about Jekyll and Hyde performances, 1-1 teams we can't figure out, one signature win, one heartbreaking, head-scratching loss. I think people are trying to figure me out right now.
I know I have been trying to figure you out for about 2 years now. So
I gave up on that a long time ago. Hard agree on that. So welcome in. It is time for our Texas High School Football Team Builder. If you're unaware of this is basically our Texas High School Football Fantasy Draft, where we're going to pick players to watch in 2025, in the week 3 of the 2025 season, and then we'll put it on social media, and you guys can let us know who won the draft and why it's me. So, and who built the best team. So, had a coin flip before the show, a fake coin flip. I won the fake coin flip, which means I get the first pick in this week's draft. And to remind people, you pick a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, a team defense, and then a wild card will be in the last round. So we're going to go snake draft style. Don't take my wild card this time,
Oh,
Yates.
boy.
I was trying to perform osmosis on her.
That would be really funny if 2 weeks in a row you were able to take her wild card.
She was walking down to the studio, and I was just like,
yeah.
This is a
Christian Villarreal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit that I do not like.
It would be so good if you did it. All right. With pick 1-1, I'm going to go running back. And I'm going to go with a guy who's in a pretty high-profile game this week. I am going to take San Antonio Davenport running back Barrett Fallon. Barrett Fallon has been excellent for the Wolves to start the year. He's actually playing quarterback he has played quarterback in the past. They're using him
exclusively as a running back this year, and he has been dynamic. 435 yards and 10 touchdowns through 2 games. Big game this week against San Antonio Piper, but I think Barrett Fallon from San Antonio Davenport is going to show out. He's picked 1-1 in the Week 3 draft.
And Piper's one of those teams that's hard to figure out right now because they are 1-1. They should be very solid this year, but it's a huge game for them.
Now the Fallon train. It's going to be late night with Barrett Fallon. The Tonight Show with Barrett Fallon. I'm trying to make a Jimmy Fallon reference.
It's not working.
It's not working at all.
I've fallen and I can't get up. There you go.
Ashley Pickle, you're up next.
What a transition from Life Alert to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a quarterback right off the top here. Let's go with Canadian quarterback, the sophomore Weston Mitchell. Ooh. He had an incredible game against Bushland last week. Went 30 for 39, 349 yards and 3 touchdowns. They're punching up and playing Dumas this week, so I've got my eyes out in the South Plain? No, Panhandle.
Panhandle. Panhandle. Yeah, okay. And here's the good thing about that. From a usage perspective, the Canadian offense, you know he's going to get his.
Oh, yeah. You never have to worry about a low stat line. Like 349 is probably about average of what he's, that was a pretty darn good week, but at least over 250.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. Carter Yates.
All right, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going with South Lake Carroll quarterback Angelo Renda for the district opener against Byron Nelson. So last week he was 17 of 21 for 349 yards and 2 touchdowns in a game that was called with 10 minutes left in the third quarter. So
in 26 minutes of game time.
Yes, and I look at this Byron Nelson team, and they had a great Week 1 win that we were at for the Rising Game of the Week. But Muhammadu Sibi, the Wake Forest cornerback commit, was out that game, and I think he might be back, but he is not in midseason form yet, I don't think, like Angelo Renda and Brock Boyd are going to be.
Okay. I think that's a bold move, but I think that taking one of the best quarterbacks on the best quarterback on the number 1 team in the state. Real reach there.
Yeah, I know. I really went on a limb.
He's saving it all up for my wild card pick.
Yeah, I know. Yours is going to be Angelo Renda.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you're now starting with round 2.
I'm gonna pair Angelo Renda with Troy wide receiver Cohen Ketchum.
Oh, first of all.
Oh my God. That rocks.
Yeah, Cohen gonna catch them all is what I'm saying this week. Averaging 158 receiving yards, and the offense is averaging 48.5 points per game. They play Rogers this week, and last year the game was 55-46. I predict that Cohen Ketchum is going to have another big night. He's having a huge season.
Okay, that's a good pick with a good name. By the way, that's very strong. Right now, you're wanting the name. I mean, Barrett Fallon's pretty good, but right now, 2 picks in: Angelo Renda and Cohen Ketchum. Real dudes rock.
He had to be a wide receiver. There was never never another path.
He was never going to be a left guard.
I would say the name probably weighs out to like 80% of my pick.
Yeah, well, there are other guys in the mix, but that really put him over the top. Got him at the top of the board. What's your second pick, Ashley?
I will go wide receiver as well. Let's go down to DeWitt County, shall we? We're going to go with Walker Dietz from Cuero.
Okay.
Incredible 3 touchdowns receiving last week when they beat state-ranked Lavernia. Huge game against Yoakum. It's a massive rivalry. If Cuero's going to want to pull this one out, Walker Dietz is going to play a huge factor in that. Just a game that I'm super interested in, regardless of Walker or not.
Did you see that one-handed catch he had that was floating around on social media? It's ridiculous.
He's sick. He is... That's a bad man right there.
That's a guy. Yeah. Here's a guy.
Here's a guy.
Was he featured on Here's a Guy?
He was featured on Here's a Guy. Yeah. Wow. It was a Greg Powers nomination for Here's a Guy.
You were an early adopter of the Walker Dietz agenda. All right, I got 2 picks. Quarterback. I'm going to go, it's another guy who's got a big district game this week, District 13 6A opener. I'm going to go with the Woodlands College Park quarterback Camden Hughes, who has been really strong and a big part of their 2-0 start this year. Last week, if I could find this, last week he went off in their win over Klein Cain. 24 of 34 for 471 yards and 6 touchdowns in a win over Klein Cain. I'm impressed. They got a big game this week against Conroe. I know they're going to try to shut him down, but I think this junior quarterback, Camden Hughes from the Woodlands College Park, has got a little something. That's my quarterback. So now I've got to pick a wide receiver. And this is real don't overthink it mode again. This is when I'm going to start playing the hits. I'm going to take Argyle wide receiver Julian Caldwell.
Very nice.
Okay?
That's a good pick.
Mansfield Timberview this week. They are punching up, or rather, no, it's a 5A Division II game. Actually, it's a 3-5A Division II opener. He's going to show out on the big stage. Julian Caldwell, they're going to feed him. The other thing about it is he went off in week 1, had a crazy good week 1 game, even in a loss. Last week, I believe they were dealing with weather, a lot of weather. I think that skies are clear. I've checked the forecast, and the forecast calls for deep balls to Julian Caldwell. I'm either going to air it out. Julian Caldwell's my pick for wide receiver.
I love that pick.
Okay.
I love the pairing with McGuire Gasperson. Those Argyle Eagles are loaded.
It's going to be very, very good. All right, Pickle, you're up.
I'm gonna
defense and a running back.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it easy here with defense and go with South Lake Carroll. You mentioned it earlier. They've got a huge game coming up against Byron Nelson, district opener there. They've only allowed 7 points on the year through 2 games. You wrote it last week, 2 weeks ago. Like number 1 secondary across the state. They're
sick.
Ball hawking guys out there.
Yeah, they're sick.
Yeah, and Parker Almanza, the Byron Nelson quarterback, played tight end for the last 4 years. He's actually a Baylor tight end commit. He's been really great at quarterback this year, but this is a tough task in his 3rd game as a quarterback starter to go up against a secondary like that. So love that pick.
Okay. What is your 3rd pick?
Well, now I'm panicking because Pickle went defense. I think I need to go my defense too, so you don't take it.
You got back and forth. You got back-to-back picks because you're in the snake.
Yeah, that makes just too much sense. I'm going to go with Alito.
This guy in a snake draft just doesn't get it.
We'll get there eventually. Week 14, we're going to get it.
I'm going to go with the Alito Bearcats defense. They allowed 14 points to Denton Geyer, and then Denton Geyer the next week put up 41 on Arlington Martin, and then they blanked Lancaster, 18-0. Going up against a Brewer team that scored 14 on a Class 4A team last week in Lake Dallas Falcons. Shout out V&A Moreno. The front 7, headlined by defensive end Cooper Cyphers and Carson Dempsey and those guys over there. Defensive tackle Timon Meeks is also a future star. I talked to Cooper Cyphers after the week 1 win over Denton Geyer, and he said how he couldn't sleep the night before because he was practicing his sack dance in his head.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to roll with that guy.
Yeah, that's a real dudes rock energy there. It's like, hey guys, I'm a little tired today. I was up all night like practicing my dance.
The front 7 was swarming, and this Alito offense is giving them time because they're rotating through two quarterbacks to hit their stride. I mean, right now, if you're Alito, you can score 2 touchdowns and feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, give us to round 4. You have to take a running back here? Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I'm going to go with El Paso Franklin running back Ernie Kenny Powers, 634 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns in 2 games. He had 40 carries against El Paso del Valle.
You're doing great.
I panicked.
This is all leading up to the redemption of Carter Yates on the Bracket Reveal show.
Well, hold on, because there's 2 Del Valles.
Correct. No,
yeah, there's a Del Valle in Austin.
Austin is Del Valle.
And
El Paso is Del Valle.
El Paso's Del Valle. I knew that, but I panicked because I had them both in my head, and I just said them both wrong.
I'll tell you who's panicking right now is V&A Moreno. She's furious about this, but go on.
He had 40 carries against them last week, so they like to feed him the rock. I love this matchup with Kansas State commit Justin Morales on the offensive line going up against a defensive line with Utah defensive end commit Javion Ramon and 4-year starter KJ Russell over there.
Okay, I like it. El Paso Franklin running back Ernie Powers. Strong pick. And again, you don't have to worry about him getting his. This is a real fantasy football play. All right, Pickle, you have got to take a running back.
All right. I'm hopping on the Klein train here. I'm putting in stock on Klein. We're going senior running back Edward Kelly Jr. On the season, he's 29 carries for 367 yards, 5 touchdowns. I'm super interested in their game against Klein Kane this week. I think that's a real measuring stick for both of those teams in a time for Coach Caduti to kind of be like, hey guys, we're here. So super, super excited about that. But Edward Kelly Jr. has been the thing that makes that offense go so far.
Okay, I think that's a good pick. It's a good pick. I've got to take defense for mine. I'm going to go a little off the board. I'm I'm going to take the Ponder Lions defense.
Okay, we're buying into the Schultz squad.
Our guy, Marcus Scholes, has got them cooking. They are one of, I think, 12 teams in Texas high school football that have not allowed a point this year. Now, they've only played one game. I think their week 2 game got rained out. But they beat Venus in week 1, 77-0. And now they are playing a Gainesville team that is 0-2 and has not scored a point this year. I think this is a showcase for the Ponder Lions, for some of the playmakers. They've got like Caden Nowicki and like Remington Hubbard. I think the Ponder defense is going to show out in this one. That is my defense. So that rounds out the main portion. Now we get to the real critical portion.
Everyone's favorite part.
It's the wild card. So you can take.
I get to go before Carter.
You do.
Haha.
You can pick any player, any position. The only rule is this has to be a little bit off the board, whatever that means for you. So if you take KJ Edwards from Carthage,
you get booed.
Fired.
Yeah. Please show yourself the door.
Exactly
tomato.
Get out of here. Yes. All right. Ashley Pickle, or rather,
no, it's you.
Oh, I get to go first.
Oh my gosh, we're still figuring out how a snake draft works, boys.
All right. I am going to take Bishop wide receiver Matthew Reyna. Okay? Because this guy last week for the Badgers in a wild 35-34 loss to Brownsville Pace, this guy caught 15 passes for 149 yards and a touchdown. Okay? They are feeding Matthew Reyna the rock. They are building the whole plane on a Matthew Reyna for the Bishop Badgers. I like Bishop wide receiver Matthew Reyna as my wild card. Ashley Pickle, what is your wild card that Carter Yates was inevitably going to steal?
I like this order. We should keep it in this order moving forward. How about wall offensive guard?
What?
Even I wasn't crazy enough to do that.
Yes!
I was going to make sure that there was no way in hell you stole my pick.
Wow, I'm so in your head. An offensive guard?
Look, she's been in the tape. She's been in the film room. You're like, how do I beat this guy?
Big time players make big time plays, all right? Bane Jaskinski is how you say it, I believe. He's on the season. This guy's a monster up front. He's got 9 pancakes and has allowed 0 sacks to quarterback Landon York. You wonder how I was like, okay, Landon York is popping off right now. How does this offensive line look? And that's when I found Bane Jaskinski. No. And I was like, wild card.
Let me tell you something. I mean this as sincerely as I've ever meant anything I've said to you, including when I declared you and your husband as husband and wife. Hell yeah, brother.
I'm in my bag now.
I'm saying this from my guts. It was excellent.
Anyway, big game against Jim Ned for Craig Slaughter's ball club.
Okay.
You also got to love an offensive lineman named Bane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he wears the mask.
Yeah.
You think darkness is your ally?
I was born in the trenches.
All right, bring us home, Carter. Now that she took your pick.
We should just end it here. I don't know how to follow this up, but I'm going to try with a Sinton running back, Micah Green. Is that a wild card enough?
Yeah, okay.
That's good.
All right. More like Micah, that's a lot of green grass because he has had 501 yards in 2 games. Last week was a 90-yard touchdown run where he broke like 9 tackles, a 44-yard run, a 40-yard run, big play threat. I love this offensive line, too. He's running behind with All-State senior left tackle Clay Mitchell. Yeah. 2-time All-District center Zach Busak, and then other offensive tackle Ezekiel Rodriguez. He did not allow a single sack last year.
Okay, that's very good. I like how we've started to dig into this and be like, all right, it's not about the players, it's about the matchups, and it's about we're taking running backs based on their offensive linemen, or we're just straight up drafting offensive linemen. It's very good. There it is. That is our Week 3 team builder draft. I love my team. I love my squad.
I won that one hands down. Y'all are playing for second.
It's going to be hard to beat taking a 3A offensive guard.
I'm just glad that Carter's osmosis didn't work.
It didn't.
I'm picking a deep snapper next week.
Carter Yates, he's going to be on the call for tonight's game, Fort Bridgeport and Bridgeland.
Mm-hmm. Big game. Playoff game in Week 3. Yeah. I feel like playoff atmosphere should be. We'll be out there with Greg Powers, Gavin Moritz, Mallory Hartley, DCTX Rising Game of the Week.
Make sure you go check it out. It'll be free on our YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, me.
Probably help if I turn your mic on.
Thanks, me. What a toss.
What a segment.
From me to me.
It's our team builder segment. As we pick out our picks to click, the teams that we are the players we are most excited about watching this week. We're at Texas Football Today. We're here every Monday and Thursday on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Hope you go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Bunch of great games coming up tonight on Dave Campbell's Texas Live. Pickle, let's go to the hotline. We are pleased to be joined by the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. He's the voice of Texas High School football. He's the voice of the Texas Longhorns. Is our friend Craig Way. Mr. Way, how does today find you?
I thought we were the team building segment.
Oh, well, we could do that. Anytime, my friend. We
could use some building, all of us, right?
Oh, that is true. Yes, absolutely. We need to be building this team up as best we can. All right, Craig. First things first. You surprised me. I was on your show, the Craig Way Show, AM 1300 The Zone in Austin, on Tuesday, as I am every Tuesday at 3:15. Make sure you tune in. This is cross-promotional. And you came at me with, I've got to be honest, perhaps the most non-sequitur question off the top that I've ever received in any radio interview. And you asked me what my cereal of choice was. So now I am just going to reverse the whip, and I'm going to ask you, because you were talking, you had something about like they were ranking the Cap'n Crunch varieties.
Yes.
What's your go-to cereal?
Well, it's similar to one thing you had said, and it's Cocoa Krispies. And the reason why it's Cocoa Krispies, the cereal's great and all that, but you get a bowl of chocolate milk at the end of it. So that's why I go with Cocoa Krispies. Cocoa Puffs are that way, but Cocoa Krispies has a little darker, sweeter tasting chocolate leftover cereal granular mix when you're done. So I'm all about that.
That's a fair call. I went similarly in a different way. I went Cinnamon Toast Crunch. There's a Pickle. You don't even Pickle. You don't even like sweets. So what's your cereal?
I actually like Captain Crunch a lot.
Oh,
yeah, I really do. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty bland. Back in the day when they had grape nut O's, those rocked. Okay. They don't make them in O form anymore, though.
Wow. We used to be
just grape nuts.
Yeah.
Hard as a rock, but they're great.
We used to be a proper country. All right, so I want to ask you about your other gig besides calling games for our friends at Victory at Texas High School Ball. I want to ask you about the Texas Longhorns. You are, of course, they come out of with a big win over San Jose State, a real get-right game. All eyes were on Arch Manning, I think, understandably, through 4 touchdowns within 5 minutes to really pull away from there. But I want to ask you about the other side of the ball, because it does seem to me that through 2 weeks, the Texas defense is as advertised. Obviously, Ohio State and San Jose State not really comparable in that regard. But is the feeling around this Longhorns program that, yeah, this defense is going to be pretty darn good. When the offense catches up, that's when they're going to really hit full bloom.
Yeah, I think so. There's one little caveat you have to add to that, and it really applies to the offense, and it also applies to the special teams, and that's penalties. They've had a flock of penalties in the first 2 weeks. Last weekend, they had 12 for over 100 yards. Sark called it absolutely unacceptable. Can't do that sort of thing. And then in his Monday news conference, when he went back and he looked at everything, he said, the one thing I noticed is, he said, we have penalties on offense, defense, and special teams. He said we were equal opportunity offenders. And, there were holding penalties. There were roughing the passer penalties. There was a roughing the kicker penalty, false starts, offsides. And he said, I got to thinking about it. And he said, maybe. He said, and this is not an excuse, and it makes me mad if this was the reason. He said, but maybe it's you come off that big ballyhoo game against Ohio State, all the attention and focus on that game, and they go out and try as hard as they can. They didn't play well offensively, but they were right there in the game toward the end. They lose 14-7, and then they come home, and the way it's categorized by everybody is they got 3 weeks to get right before they start SEC play. In fact, at 3 games, and then there's an open date before they play Florida down in Gainesville. So you're looking at the 3 games, and it's San Jose State, and it's UTEP this weekend, and it's Sam Houston the following week. And say, okay, yeah, this is where they get right. They do all this stuff. And then they go out and play kind of sloppy. And he said that it might have been that our guys might have relaxed a little bit. And he said, well, we don't relax. We can't relax. And that's what this week has been all about, is about getting back in form and not committing the penalties. There was a moment of fascination. A lot of the writers were asking, well, are there consequences for the penalties? He said, absolutely. They were like, what are they? Everybody wanted to know, are they running the stadium steps? Are they doing 13 extra up downs, all that kind of stuff? And he said, we handle all that stuff inside. But, that's what it's been, a cleanup deal, not only from week 1 to week 2. Now it's about cleaning up a lot of the mental stuff, because a lot of the other tactical things, as you pointed out, especially with the athleticism of this team, has been pretty good, and it was good last week, but they need to be better, and that's what the mission and the focus has been this week.
On to Texas high school football. Greg White, the Texas High School Hall of Famer, joined us here every Thursday on Texas Football Today. I want to ask you, there's a piece up by our Carter Yates about Jekyll and Hyde teams. That is basically 1-1 teams that we're still trying to figure out. He lists teams like Vandegrift, like Frisco Emerson, West Orange Stark, Goliad among them. You have covered a lot of Texas high school football in your day. It does feel like right now feels like the worst amount of data to have on a team. When do you start feeling comfortable knowing where teams are and what they project out to? I know the answer is probably not after 2 weeks, but when do you start feeling like I've got a pretty decent grasp on what these teams are?
It's usually after the end of non-district play or the first week of district play. Now, that isn't applicable in all cases. Ask Drew Sanders at Vanderbilt. They start district play tomorrow night against Stony Point, who's been a surprising 2-0, and they're in the 9-team district. So he said part of the whole mission for the game against Cedar Park is to find out who can I rely on when we get into district play. I also look at other things. I look at who did you play in non-district? Who did you beat? Who did you lose to? And how did you play? Not necessarily margin of victory, because, for example, Vandegrift beat Cedar Park 35-14 last week. That's a 14-14 game in the third quarter, and then it got away after that. It's how it got away. How did you win? How did you lose? If you were sloppy, if you committed the aforementioned penalties and things of that nature, then yeah, maybe there's a point of concern. If you're just getting gashed on the run, it's a concern. You brought up the point about Katie's 0-2 start and how they've been really hurt in the back. And so it's hard to get a good feel for some until they get some of those guys back healthy. If other teams that have injuries don't get their injured guys back, then you know it's a real problem. But I think for the teams that are starting to get guys back and in time, most importantly for district play, then you learn something. And I think you learn something too about the teams that they played. For example, I've got South Oak Cliff and Longview tomorrow night. South Oak Cliff is 1-1. But the one win is North Shore, and the one loss is close to Duncanville. So that's not a hit and miss 1-1. That's a good 1-1, I think. So there are different ways and levels I think you can look at that.
Well, and I think your point is well taken, because I think obviously people are going to look at the record, and your record does matter, but then it kind of doesn't, because district games matter. But I look at a team like South Oak Cliff, who very realistically could be 1-2 after next week, or by the time we're talking next week, if they lose to Longview. And we're still going to be thinking, unless they go out there and get beat 100-0, we're probably thinking, boy, South Oak Cliff's pretty dark up. I would say another example is there's an 0-2 team, San Antonio Madison. They have a 4-point loss to New Braunfels and a 4-point loss to San Antonio Harlan. They're two pretty darn good losses, I would say, for Madison. Even at 0-2, I'm feeling more encouraged by them than I would have before the season. And so I think that when you and I talk about rankings on your program, I think that has to play a factor as well. It's not as simple as just saying, well, that team's 1-1, they must be mediocre. Because of the way that Texas high school football is set up, there are such different levels to this that it makes digging in a little bit farther more important.
Yeah, and I also think there's another factor to take in. I call it the sheep in wolf's clothing, or some would say fool's gold or whatever. Take a look at your 2-0 teams across the state. How 2-0 are they really? And there's some, there's some that you'd say 2-0. Yeah, they're a legit 2-0. South Lake Carroll's a legit 2-0. But then you look at some other teams, maybe not. The 2-0, and when they play teams of a higher caliber, that's going to show itself. So I think all of those things that blend into that go into that. And I'm going to tell you about another 2-0 team, and I think you're going to like this story. There's a team that is trying to get a win tonight, and that's Hayes. And they're playing Hendrickson tonight at the field in Pflugerville. Okay, the Hayes, of course, is coached by Mark Torres, the former coach at El Paso Pebble Hills, and he's trying to get them back into the win column again this week. They had that crazy come-from-behind win last week over Pflugerville. There's another story with the Torres family. His son Marcus played for him at Pebble Hills. His son Marcus was a walk-on at UTEP, but he earned a scholarship, and not only did he earn the scholarship, he's going to wear the jersey number 2 in honor of Luke Laufenberg, Babe Laufenberg's son, who passed away from cancer a few years ago, former UTEP wide receiver. So it's a really cool story about how a kid has risen up, and now he's going to on scholarship, and he's going to get to wear Luke Laufenberg's jersey number 2 on Saturday when UTEP plays Texas. And Babe is coming down for the game. He wants to see the game. He stays in touch with the UTEP program. But it's a great story for Mark Torres as well, the dad, his high school head coach, who's trying to lead Hayes to a win tonight over in Pflugerville against Hendrickson.
Pretty remarkable stuff there. Obviously a great story going on there with Hayes. It's Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer. It's time for the meanest thing we do to each other each week. I'm going to give you 3 games. You can only teleport to one, and I'm not going to give you the game that you're calling for our friends at Victory, Longview and South Oak Cliff. So I will remove that from consideration. Are you going to Atascocita hosting Westlake? Are you going to Port Nature's Groves at LaPorte? Or, and this is where I'm going to get Craig Way, are you going to Strawn at Gordon?
Oh, I almost hit you with that one the other day. I almost hit you with that one the other day. By the way, I guess what you're doing with me, but by not listing Longview Sockets, that's the Kirk Herbstreit corollary of I can't pick a game I'm working.
Bingo,
right?
exactly.
Okay. I'm going to copycat you. I'm with you. I'm because you picked the Atascocita Westlake, and I'm going to pick that game to go to that game. I would go to that game if I weren't working tomorrow night, but for 2 reasons. We're wanting to see just how good Atascocita is, and here's another 1 and 1. Do we? Westlake beat up on San Benito last week, but they lost to Prosper in week 1. Now they're playing, I would submit to you, the best of the 3 teams they played so far. How will they respond? And it's another road game for them. So they went from the Valley, and now they go to the greater Houston area. So if I remember Tony Salazar's motif, he follows what Todd Dodge did. They stop at a Luby's for the team to have a meal along the way somewhere along I-10, and then they roll it on in and get ready for play. Maybe it's a winning formula. We'll find out, but that's the game I would attend.
He's Craig Waves, Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. You can hear him call South Oak Cliff and Longview with our friends at Victory, and then you can hear him on the Longhorn Radio Network, where he will be calling UTEP taking on Texas Saturday at 3:15. Craig, appreciate your time, my friend, and we will talk to you next week.
When I was driving back after I got through calling the game, I had you and Pickle on. I had the app on. I had it laying down so I could see the road. I was driving, but I was listening to the tape. Great stuff. I'll be doing it again tomorrow night.
Appreciate you, my friend. Travel safe.
Bye, Craig.
There you go. It's Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer. Joins every Thursday here at Texas Football Today.
Thursdays. Talk
a little football across state, which actually, and I'm going to try to throw my producer for a loop,
sure,
would bring us a good opportunity to promote the show that Craig Way listens to on Friday nights.
Boy, I'm better than that.
It's the after party. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Myself and Ashley Pickle. 10:30 p.m. tomorrow night, wherever you're watching us right now, wherever you stream. For free! the after party. Scores, highlights, analysis, big-time guests. I already teased one of them. We'll have the winning coach of Winsboro Honeygrove. We got another coach queued up as well. Make sure you hang with us. Friday night, it's your after party, the official post-game show of Texas high school football. I'm just going to declare it. Go ahead and take it. Texas football tonight, tomorrow, 10:30 p.m. Make sure you come and hang out with us. Now time for mail call. Round this thing out. Uh-oh.
Oh, I've got questions. I thought you were just pitching it over to me.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My bad. You just cut to yourself. You just want everybody to see. There she is. Still here. Do we have questions from the people, Ashley Pickle?
We sure do. What was the most head-scratching loss in the first 2 weeks?
I got to be honest. Like, one of them was a game we've talked about a lot. Is on the other side of the South Oak Cliff North Shore game. Is for North Shore to come up and get bullied the way that they did. I thought was rather surprising. I would also say I think Crowley losing in week 1 to Brewer was pretty head-scratching to me. Mm-hmm. Obviously, what DeSoto did going on the road to Georgia and getting launched into the sun.
Oh, what was the game that we highlighted on Monday Morning Fallout that they were 24-point underdogs and won?
Oh, yeah. It was Baytown Goose Creek Memorial and Baytown Sterling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's surprising as well.
Just Baytown Goose Creek being 2-0 over the other two.
I mean, Goose Creek is the newest program down there, and they have been kind of, like, respectfully, they have kind of been the doormat there in Baytown. But they have gotten things going in a good way. That is one that I think is super surprising to me. I'm trying to think of any others that just leap off the page of like really surprised. I was a little surprised, but not shocked by the way that Dickinson handled Katy in the opener. Not necessarily Atascocita being Katy, because I think that's one that I think is
a coin flip. Yeah,
I would go back to one in week 1 as well. Royce City put it on Plano East.
Yes,
that one was really surprising to me. I would also say week 1 Mansfield Lake Ridge beating Frisco Reedy was surprising to me, because Lake Ridge was a team that might have been 1-9 or 2-8 or maybe even 0-10 last year, and they were really surprising. And then the other one, we kind of alluded to it in the team builder. The Woodlands College Park drumming Klein Cain.
Yeah.
58-21 last week. That one, I think...
We'll get answers about Klein Cain when they play Klein.
I think
this
so.
week.
I think that one. So those are a few that were among the more head-scratching ones.
Whoa.
Yes?
I clicked on the wrong button.
Pickle.
Who would be discussed in the Player of the Year talk that wasn't on your radar going into the season?
Carde Mack.
Mm-hmm.
Carde Mack. It's weird to say Christian Villarreal at Ozona.
Yeah.
I think he's the state's leading rusher right now.
If he's not, then goodness.
Yeah, he's in the mix. Guys who weren't in the mix that have really showed out. A lot of the guys that we had in the mix have played well. Like Kavian Bryant's played well. Bo Bentley's played well.
Wall offensive guard.
Wall offensive guard is on your list. I would put, and he was on our radar, but I don't think he's next. But Walker Dietz at Cuero has really shown out in a big way. I think that's really encouraging. I would say Carde Mack is the one, because I think for a couple of reasons. One, Carde Mack was a guy that we didn't know what position he was going to play. Mm-hmm. We thought he might be removing a running back. He's 6', quarterback, and he's also just spectacular. He's made that big leap there. I'll throw one more out there.
Okay.
Ernie Powers from El Paso Franklin.
Oh, yeah, he's balling.
He's been sensational to start the year. So those would be a few that I think have risen onto our radar.
Heavy running back.
A lot of good running backs this year. A lot of good running backs.
And the last one here. If you had to be a teacher and teach a subject not currently taught in school, what would it be?
Okay,
do they still do speech classes? Like
maybe, yeah.
Like I would definitely do that. Like
public speaking.
I always said that if I ever went the route of being a basketball coach, that I would try to be able to teach, like a public speaking class.
Yeah. Public speaking would be one. Like, do I have to be good at it, or can I just say that I think it's useful?
Both.
Okay. I would teach, and I want to be very clear, I am not the person to teach this. But if I can install a class, like a financial literacy class.
Yes, that would be incredible.
And I want to be very clear, not the guy to do it. However, like if you want to talk about a thing that could be really useful for people is like how to pay bills, how to balance a budget.
Yes, how to file your taxes.
How
to understand when you're going in to buy a car that there's going to be a massive thing of, you know, registration and tax that you have to pay. A house thing. Like
how interest rates work.
Yes.
What the Fed is, right? Things like that I feel like you're kind of expected to learn on the fly. There's not really there. So to me, like a financial literacy class, I would start the class and then pass it over to somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Even just like an adult 101. Like here's things that you never would have thought about, you know, blah blah blah.
Like here are very basics on how to save money. Like very basics, which means like put money in places where like it's going to earn interest, right? Like how credit cards work.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Like, hey, probably don't use your debit card on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like you could get the points for that,
like
you know?
How credit cards work and how to be responsible with credit cards.
Yep.
And how credit scores work and things like that.
And why?
And why
credit scores are completely made up and all of them.
Yes, they're completely made up.
But they matter so heavily, and if you don't have it, you can't really get a credit card.
To me, I just think that is that's a big hole in our education game.
Yeah, I agree.
Just giving people tools to be financially literate. I'm not saying they need to be experts. I think they need to be able to run their own lives, essentially. So, because you and I have both been lucky enough to have parents that have taught us the ropes.
Oh my gosh, I don't know where I would be if I wasn't able to luckily call my mom or call my dad and go,
What's this mean?
Yeah.
What this bill?
What this do?
What I do? Anyway, so there you go. That's it. A reminder, tomorrow night, 10:30 p.m., wherever you're streaming us, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TexanLive.com. You can watch the after party. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Final scores, highlights, analysis, big-time guests, Fine Moreno, everything you could possibly want in a show coming up tomorrow night, 10:30 p.m., wherever you stream. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks to Rick LaFavers, head coach of the Fort Bend Ridgepoint Panthers, Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, and Carter Yates, our senior high school writer, for being our guests. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. We will see you tomorrow night for Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight for Week 3.